Josh Green here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Eddie Hearn in Manchester at the Chisora Parker press conference. Heated as ever up there with Dereck Chisora. It's always good fun, isn't it?
You never know what he's going to say. That's the problem. He's capable of saying anything. He didn't. I saw a couple of leg twitches, but nothing violent from him.
No.
Looking forward to it. It was a good fight last time around. You know, it's behind closed doors. If it was in the O2 last time, I think you would have seen a brilliant atmosphere, and you'll see a brilliant atmosphere in Manchester for sure.
What is on the line for both of these guys? Because there's
I think with Del Boy, you can't look into it too deeply because you know what is on the line for him every time he fights. He just loves to fight, and he loves boxing. So you never want to suffer back-to-back defeats. He has to the unified heavyweight world champion and to Joseph Parker, but he really needs to win this fight. And I think Joseph Parker is in a position where he's top 5 ranked in the world in the heavyweight division. I think he's got more to lose in the fight than Dereck Chisora. I don't think he needed to take this fight. Chisora needs the fight much more, and I think it's going to be a fun one.
Obviously the fight was behind closed doors last time out. How much do you think it will benefit from having, say, 16 to 18,000?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, the card is brilliant, but the main event is a really good fight. And look, Chisora's had his last 2 fights behind closed doors, so I don't think that helps him at all. And I thought the 2 performances were quite decent. Lost to Usyk in a decent fight. Feels like he beat Joseph Parker. I guess that's up for debate. As far as I'm concerned with Dereck, he definitely won that fight if he's around. And this time, I don't think it will go the distance because I think both guys. I think Joseph looks good. You know, he looks fit. He looks strong. I think he'll be looking for the KO this time around, and I think Chisora will need to start fast because I think Joseph will.
You mentioned the undercard there. Both Lerone Richards and Josh Buatsi have got extremely tough tests. Which do you think is the tougher test? Because they're both.
I've just realised that I didn't mention Joshua Buatsi in the press conference. Didn't do a very good job. Yeah. He's obviously training with Virgil. He's got a really tough fight. You know, I mean, against Blasov, who I think beat Joe Smith. That is really the big final test for him before he gets to world level, or not world level, before he gets to a champion. And he's got to make sure that he wins that fight. It's a very tough fight. But if he goes through Bolotniks and Blasov, the preparation is perfect, and he'll be ready to fight any of the champions. And that's a really good fight. As is Lerone Richards against Gongora, brilliant fight. Zelfa Barrett against Torimo, eliminator for the world title. Jack Cullen for the European title. And all the great prospects on the card: Sandy Ryan, Rhiannon Dixon, David Naika, Olympic bronze medalist, Jordan Thompson, Cyrus Patterson as well. And so it's a big night of boxing.
You're obviously over the pond last week for Canelo, Plant in a slightly different role to usual.
Fan.
What was it like being a fan over there?
It was good because you get to experience the events from a completely different viewpoint. I went into the weigh-in with the fans. I came out with the fans. I went to some little bit of hospitality beforehand, sitting just in a normal seat with his family, ringside, but not on the promoter's row. I was just there as a friend, as a fan, really supporting him. When we started working together, which was probably just over a year ago, he said that he wanted to become undisputed champion. I did 3 of those 4 fights, didn't do this one, but wanted to see him win. And big admirer of him and Eddie Reynoso, and I know it's a bit of a running joke about me being a fanboy of Canelo Alvarez, but I am. I think he's a cool customer, and I think he's an unbelievable fighter. And he's
just picking that back up, Eddie, on Canelo. I mean, there's never going to be a shortage of people that want to fight Canelo, but who would you like to see?
I think the biggest fight out there, arguably the biggest fight in boxing, is the Gennady-Golovkin trilogy, which would be for the undisputed championship, of course, because Canelo owns those belts now. There's opportunities for him to go up to 175 pounds, opportunities for him to fight in the UK as well. I think that he can do whatever he wants to do, quite frankly. He'll have a rest, and I think he'll look to make his decision early next year.
He's enjoyed such a good relationship with PBC over the last couple of fights. I mean, how do you tempt him back?
One fight.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's done 3 with us. I think he enjoys working with everybody. I think the fluidity he has for being a free agent allows him, without that status, he wouldn't have been able to become undisputed. Because PBC wouldn't let Plant fight on another platform, so therefore he had to make that fight on PBC. He had a good time, he made a lot of money, he won the Undisputed Championship, and I guess the next step is myself, PBC, everybody else putting aggressive proposals forward to him and then making a decision. Just because we get on well doesn't mean he's going to take a weaker offer from me over them. But I think we'll be aggressive, and we'd love to work with them again.
Obviously, Conor Algieri was announced this week. I mean, what challenges does Algieri pose that Conor hasn't faced in previous fights?
It's the toughest fight of his career, of course, but he's technically very, very good. You know, obviously he beat Provodnikov to win the world title, 3 defeats on his record to Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence, and a very close fight with Amir Khan. He's very good. I see it as a 50-50 fight. You know, there's still a lot of work for Conor Benn to do, and people calling for him to fight, you know, this guy or Sean Porter, and they will come. But you have to go through the levels. When you look at his last 4 fights, Sebastian Formella, who in his fight before boxed Sean Porter, it was okay for Sean Porter, but it weren't okay for Conor Benn. You know, then he fought Samuel Vargas, who just boxed Virgil Ortiz. Then he boxed Granados, and now he's boxing Algieri. It's a really good run of learning fights, if you want to call them, but this one's not a learning fight. This is a fight against a world-class fighter with a lot of experience, and I think it's going to be a tough night work for Conor.
Obviously, Dillian White, Tyson Fury seems to be edging closer. What update can you give us on that?
Just we wait. You know, we wait with the WBC. Spoke to Dillian's guys this morning. We wait for the final confirmation of the mandatory negotiations for that fight. Obviously, I've worked with Dillian White for the last 6 years. Nothing changes in that respect. We'll get the offers in from everybody. We'll review them as a team. We'll look at those negotiations, look at the potential of a purse bid, see what's best for Dillian. But the key is getting him a shot at the world heavyweight title. We don't care where it takes place or who promotes it. We just want what he deserves, which is a crack at the world heavyweight title.
And just finally, BBC highlights package, are they something that's in the works and coming soon?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of discussions going on, a lot of interesting conversations about bringing parts of the sport to terrestrial TV, and I'm sure we'll have an update on that soon.
Okay. Cheers, Eddie.
Cheers.